이제 남은 선수는 한희석 선수입니다. 한희석 선수에게 마이크를 넘겨보도록 하겠습니다. 한희석 선수.
저는 좀 가벼운 스타일을 좋아해서 같이 난전하는 스타일인데
제보는 안 돼요 그러면?
도우 형이 연습 열심히 많이 안 한다는
김도우 추천 들어왔습니다.
네, 괜찮은 것 같아요. 뭐.
좋아요?
네, 뽑아주면 괜찮습니다.
김준호와 연습을 할까? 김도우!
김도우!
와! 대박! 이러면! 와 대박! 지성이면 감천이에요.
원래 토스가 있으면 토스를 뽑고 싶었는데 토스가 없고 저그전이 좀 더 힘들어서 테란 중에 고르고 있어요 지금.
비전 괜찮은 것 같아요. 뒤에 조드가 별로 가고 싶지가 않네요 제가.
여기가 너무 세져가지고.
그나마 최선.
네.
자 고명재 가나요? 아니면 전태양?
이신영을?
이미지리스. 그러면 이신영 선수가 지금 일로 갈 수도 있는데 이신영 선수 마이크 한번 들어주시고.
그래도 다른 조에 비해서 제일 부실해 보이네요.
부실해 보여요. 그럼 누가 제일 여기서 부실해 보여요? 누가?
그냥 비슷한 것 같아요.
비슷해요.
도토리 시잭이다.
예.
변현우 실도 고개를 돌리고.
와!
도발 먹힌 거 아니야?
도발이 먹혀요. 야. 아니 한희석 선수는 눈물이 글썽거리고 있습니다.
빨리 집에 가고 싶네요.
신영이랑 막 같은 조가 안 됐으면 좋겠다라는 생각을 했는데
네.
뭐 그래도 아직 대여비가 있으니까
대여비를 믿습니다. 대여비가 되게 착하고 되게 좋은 사람이기 때문에.
여봐, 우리 많이 친해졌잖니. 꼭 좋은 선택해서 나한테 피해 안 왔으면 좋겠고.
이제 김대엽 선수의 절대 권한 이제 마지막 선택의 순간이 기다리고 있습니다. 그 뭐 보낼 선수는 결정을 좀 하셨습니까, 김대엽 선수?
저하고 같은 유니폼을 입고 있는
네. 전태양을
TY를 일단 보낼 겁니다.
저는 여기 남고 싶어요. 여기 남으면은 남고 싶은데
누굴 차라리
이신영 선수를 보내고 싶어요.
대엽이 형 이번 조지명식도 형이랑 나랑 잘 한번 해서 8강 갈 수 있게 제대로 해보자 형.
태양이 혼자 김치국 마시는 것 같고
김대엽 선수의 절대 권력 행사 들어가겠습니다.
자 전태양을
보내나요? 누구로 보내나요? KT 같은 팀 지금도 같은 팀인데 설마 바꿔주나요?
4테란을 해가지고 테란 2명을 떨구면 좋을 것 같네요. 대여비 입장으로서.
누구를 내려? 고명재. 와. 김도우는 못 갔습니다. 야 이렇게 되면 위치 바꿔주세요 전태양이. 이신영과
약간 예상을 순식간에 선수가 바뀌게 되면서 모든 선수의 표정이 약간 침울해지네.
영원한 친구도 영원한 적도 없는 게 바로 GSL 조지명식입니다.
조지명식을 조지명식답게
같은 팀원이라 믿었는데 이렇게 좀 뒤통수 칠 줄 몰랐는데
기회는 균등할 것입니다.
조화 때 왜 그런지 모르겠는데 큰일 났네요 지금.
그 과정은 공정할 것입니다.
김도우 선수랑 지금 손잡고 한강 가야 될 것 같아요.
진짜로.
결과는 또 정의로울 것입니다.
악의 씨들은 미리미리 쳐내요.
미리미리.
감사합니다.
Okay, pretty sick video right there. I love it. This group, Rapid, gonna be crazy.
That's right, Artosis. The mastermind Stats has orchestrated these guys we've all got strings on ourselves, just like in the that one NSYNC video. They all have strings on them. Was it No Strings Attached? I forget what it was. But yeah, we're all just marionettes to a stats master plan. And yeah, no, you cannot trust him when he says, of course things will be fair, but only for me. I'm like, okay, well, I see how things are here. Wow, what a group.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy one, of course. First and second place will be going up against Stats and Gumiho.
Yep.
So, you know, maybe this will bite Stats in the butt a little bit. We'll see. This group that we have, though, is just madness. aLive is in great shape. We have 2 of the 4 horsemen, Terran, and we have Classic, a multiple tournament champion. You know, IEM, SSL, GSL, this guy's won it all.
Yeah, and for TY and the guy that'll follow him, Innovation, you know, those sort of stand out as the 2 players you would expect to make it out of here. I mean, just look at the finishes Innovation has.
Oh, man.
Insane practice. Win rates off the roof, through the charts.
He's the greatest player. I mean, I don't think that you can truly call it anyone else. He is so unbelievably strong, and I am looking forward to seeing him play here tonight. What's he going to be showing us? People have been talking about crazy Thor builds and stuff like that. Of course, his TBT is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, there's 2 really important, interesting things tonight. Who wins TY versus Innovation? Because that could be a GSL Finals. And is Classic going to suck or be awesome? Because I don't think there's an in-between.
I mean, is he chin toss or win toss?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I mean, TY versus Innovation is just probably going to be one of the best, if not the best match of tonight. Hot 6 zone is going to turn into the splash zone, man. It's going to be so good. So aLive versus Classic is also going to be really interesting. aLive, one of the only Terran players who've been able to take out Innovation a couple seasons ago, last season. You really got to watch out for that, and especially with his good performance at IEM Finals. I think he surprised a lot of people there. But
Super Tournament as well?
Yeah, exactly. This guy is just killing it. A strong contender to, you know, maybe add a 5th horseman in there.
Well, I tell you what, if he wins this group, let's say, then we really, already we've been reconsidering him, right? I think that we can safely say he's probably the 5th best Terran, although Gumiho now is challenging for that. So these Terran players in Korea right now are just madness. It's kind of crazy just how strong all of them are at this moment. So this is a hard group, though. aLive really needs to prove himself once again by getting out of here.
Well, it's going to be even harder for his opponent, Classic, here. aLive's best win rate is versus Protoss. He's got a 61% in offline games. Oh my God. That's so insane to me to think that we have human players that can be that perfect. We were just talking about he has games from the AlphaGo tournament and how the computer AlphaGo said he was playing a perfect game as a human being. Oh my God. Well, we have some humans that can do that in StarCraft too. And Classic's going to have to be pretty close to one of those. Of course, his strongest win rate is versus Terrans, so that is going to serve him very well coming into this game. And of course, he only has to practice 1 matchup for today's tournament.
That is a very important thing that you mentioned there, and it has been, what, I guess a week and a few days since that group's nomination, right? So that's you got 10 days to practice for just 1 matchup. I mean, you can make a hell of a lot of headway in that matchup. So I'm not exactly sure what we'll see from Classic, but there have absolutely been times in the past where he has done some revolutionary, cool stuff in PvT, and I'm so hoping we see some of that tonight out of him. I don't want to see him just fall flat and go out in last place.
Well, if he's got phone a friend, ask the audience, or whatever lifelines he has, he's going to have to use them now. This game versus aLive is about to start. It'll be on our new GSL map, Ascension to Ire. I'm so excited for this group, this series, so let's go ahead and get into our first game of the night, aLive versus Classic.
Heaven shall burn, in a cloud of fire we stand. Fight, we start war, are you ready to fight?
All right, here we go. The map is Ascension to Ire, and our blue Terran players.
My insanity, aLive.
You got a little bit of a scratchy throat, my friend.
I do. I was definitely trying to make that a high note as we were coming into the game. Not happening, Artosis.
Well, you are going to be a dead man by the end of the day. In the bottom right, our Protoss player, the only in the group.
Classic.
Got that gold border.
Yeah.
He is a legendary
This guy
player.
is like a super champion. and he was a legit good StarCraft 1 pro. Actually played Terran there. And, you know, he's been a killer in StarCraft 2. He really has been one of these very important Protosses, and still one of the Protosses that I most like to watch the games of.
Well, we do have a scouting probe coming out. Lots of fans in the audience. They are in the Hot 6 zone. If you guys come to the GSL studio and you sit in those big Hot 6 chairs, then I believe they give 2 of the 6 people sitting in those chairs little prize swag bags.
Yeah, and I think you get like free Hot 6 and stuff too. So it's like, and they're more comfortable than those other crappy chairs. So it's like, I mean, it's just win, 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 right? You gotta. We should be having brawls over who gets to sit there.
Well, there were, I think, 6 fans that came here like an hour early and just sat in those chairs. So it's a high commodity.
That's some dedication. All right.
Just like that probe, dedicated, getting out there, making the barracks a little bit more painful to build, and delaying that the command center. No worries, though. It's still going down, and yeah, expansion for Classic as well.
Nothing too crazy to open up. Of course, Ascension Ire, one of our new maps, is in the current ladder pool. I like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, this is the map that JYP was drawing faces on yesterday. You guys were watching then, not yesterday, but our first day of GSL. Yeah, high ground watchtower in the middle, lots of different avenues to get there, and some high ground overlooking those 5th and 6th bases. So cool. Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of Protoss go for fast third bases. Was watching WCS North America earlier on today. Every single time, guys like Neeb were doing it. Saw him Canning doing it yesterday. But when it comes to your tippity top of the line, guys like Classic here in Korea in GSL, it seems to be a little bit more towards just 2-basing it for a while after a big push.
Well, you know, I think it really matters with what strategy you want to end up going for. Like, for instance, a lot of Protosses will go for this 2-base play if they are not feeling completely confident, right? Like, 2-base, glaive, all in is like, it's strong, right? Like, you're going to get a lot of wins off that.
That's like all we saw yesterday or last time.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Well, I mean, I guess those was actually Trap going charge a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't even know. Maybe that is truly the secret to this PVT matchup.
It could be. It could be.
Someone out there is going to figure that out and just win an inordinate number of games until people get the message, but not yet.
Well, I'm definitely interested in seeing exactly how charge affects everything in this new meta. Okay, by the way, this is very classic, what we're watching here. And I mean specifically this player Classic. The fact that he's going 2 gates, this is like one of his signatures. A lot of Protoss will just go 3 gates every time, but this is like a fingerprint of Classic. He does like to just have 2 gates quite often. He really realizes how many units he wants to make early on. And he's going for a quick Prism as well as it looks like Colossus tech here.
Yeah, pretty fast Colossus, at least from what I'm used to seeing. This could also be for maybe Disruptor drops.
That's a possibility, yeah.
It'd be a little bit weird to see that. On the other side, though, aLive is just playing very safe, has that early Viking out. If this was a Stargate play, he also has a Widow Mine in the middle of the map, maybe looking to check that out, or take out an early Oracle, too.
And you're right, it is the Disruptor drops here rapid. Good call. So this is going to be pretty exciting to see. You know, this is a build that isn't really that popular. You can use it, you can mix it in, but, you know, will he get damage done with these initial Disruptors? If you lose that Prism that you put this much money into, you are in so much trouble.
Yeah, it is a big investment. If that doesn't, also, you know, if it doesn't do damage, then even if it doesn't die, it's like, well, I mean, you really do have to get something done. So also 1 Adept in there too. So he's going to be along for the ride.
I like it. That can definitely tank some damage. You know, if there's a tank siege or something, you drop out that Adept first to draw the shot so you can get something off. And of course, can walk into things like Widow Mines. Let's see what he gets done with this drop. That speed on the Prism almost done.
If you drop that and you hit that perfectly Disruptor ball-sized clump of Marines,
oh my god.
Feels good. There are a lot of Widow Mines out there on the map. I think there's just 1 or possibly 2. Here comes the Shade from the Adept, and that looks normal, but what's not going to be normal is what's about to happen here.
Oh my god, here he goes. He tries to draw his attention.
Okay, does get a few.
That was a cool play. The Shade drew the attention of aLive a little bit, and aLive still reacted quickly, but 4 kills is not bad for the first Disruptor shot.
And he's going to be coming in back again, and there's the Viking that was out earlier for for aLive is going to come over, and I think that's what's really going to shut this down.
Yeah, a lot of Terrans like to make this Viking. Of course, you can't catch it because it's a speed prism, but just putting some damage on it makes you too scared really to fly in a lot of the time. Don't want to be flying into a Widow Mine and losing the game because of that.
And disruptors are going to be good all game long, so you're going to be able to bring it back now that has this delayed long enough for these Colossus to start to come out. Extended Thermal Lance almost done. And here comes this Disruptor back in again.
Ooh, sick kill there. 3 SCVs as well as a Mule going to be able to fly out once again as well. In the meantime, aLive moving across the map with a couple siege tanks, with a decent little army, but Thermal Lance is finishing up here.
Yeah, this is going to be a big power timing for aLive. He's going to have +1 in stim done here in seconds. His third base is going to be very, very vulnerable. Some timing that aLive is looking to hit.
Okay, so with the 2-range Colossus out already, +1 about to finish a decent group of gateway units and possibly a flanking Prism, I don't think he's under any danger of losing this base, but this could do some serious damage to his army.
Oh my god, Artosis, I'm so scared that Prism is going to run and get picked off. If not, that flanking Disruptor could really turn things around a little bit to see how this works out.
Okay, he actually brings the Disruptor right over here, so we'll see how that Disruptor shot goes. That's going to be a big part of this defense. Nice scan there, does get the Observer, but this is kind of like a little standstill at the moment. It's really hard to attack into those siege tanks and that bio that's in a nice little arc.
Yeah.
But also, like, aLive can't overcommit here either.
Thankfully, there's nothing spotting for those siege tanks, so they can't continue to shell that Nexus because it's out of vision. But going forward, there's the Disruption Ball right on the tanks, and it looks like Classic is in a good position, although stimming that bio forward. Look at how good those Colossi are. Oh my goodness.
Some massive damage being dealt out to the army right there. He loses 4 probes, but he has held on overall. Has that third Nexus still up, and still has his Disruptor. So there are some definite good things going on right now for Classic, who, look at that, already has warped in units to the main base, realizing a drop should be on the way.
He's just perfectly prepared. This guy's looking very, very good. I know you were asking earlier, Artosis, which Classic is going to show up. He's crossing his I's and he's dotting not only his... Wait, he's crossing his T's, dotting I's and J's and U's.
If he's crossing his eyes, you better be careful that they don't stay like that. That's what my mom told me, at least.
Your face is going to stick like that. Well, your face did stick like that, Artosis. So. Unfortunately, I don't know. Sometimes, every time I say that a player spawns on the other side of the map, I'm just going to pretend like that's what happens. All right, well, we're going in for more harassment from Classic. He tried it earlier, now it's coming back in again. There's a couple of juicy mules, and ooh, there we go.
Some legit harass continues, even against someone who made a Viking early on, so good job there. But look, this is kind of the cool next stage. aLive is going into his second starport. He's going to be making a lot of Vikings against this 3 Colossus army that also has a Prism in it for Splash. But Classic is on 2 forges, and he's going charge as well as Immortals.
Look how prepared Classic is. Kills that Netivac before he can... Okay, well, that's not... Okay. All right, never mind. Forget everything I just said.
No, that was that was great. The fact that he's ready for these things right now is fantastic.
They have Drilling Claws, too, so that was really, really going to be a tough thing to execute.
Oh, man. So... Look, this part of the game is like a really interesting one for me. To watch the anti-Colossus tech coming out and the switch from Classic with 2 armories on the way, the fact that he's making Immortals, the fact that he's getting charge. If you overmake these Vikings, yeah, you can take out those Colossus, but that ground army of Classic is going to pack a big punch if a big portion of your supply is in the air.
Yeah, the horror story Terran players tell around the campfire is when they build a bunch of Vikings and they see only 1 Colossus in your army, they're like, oh, I might have to land those.
Oh,
and then they have plus damage versus armored, but you're only going up against like massive amounts of adepts.
Zealots charging on top of Vikings is not going to be something those Vikings like.
Yeah, let me tell you guys, moving a clump of grounded Vikings against a Disruptor shot is just not going to happen.
If you're microing them instead of lifting off, I don't know what's going on.
Well, like the liftoff animation takes a little bit of time, so if you don't hit it fast enough, then you're just going to be like, I'm fly free Vikings, they all blow up on the ground. Okay, well, yeah, so these Zealots are going to see that there's a bunch of Vikings out on the map, so that should tell Classic the time of the Colossus is at an end. This is like 800 BC.
Yeah. Well... his Colossus are definitely not going to live long in the upcoming battle because there are so many Vikings out. But He's got good upgrades. Some high templars are popping out. Going into Archons here, he just needs a lot of beef and strength for his army. If he were to try to get into Psystorm, then he doesn't have a chance to roll through alive.
Yeah,
that goes towards a longer game. The Archons go towards maybe I can actually kill you after our next battle.
Unfortunately, Artosis, there's no beef in Archons. They're energy units, but I think they'll be pretty good at taking up the tank shots.
Listen, Rapid, as an Archon myself, I can let you know that I have plenty of beef, mostly with
I can't
dummies who
confirm
talk
this.
about balance on the forums.
All right, well, you completely debunked my theory, Artosis.
That's what I do. I scienced you. Get out. Okay, look at this. A huge attack coming in. Now, this is a good SimCity buy alive, buying him a lot of time.
Okay, now there are a bunch of Vikings, but they can't go in alone. There are Archons kind of buffering from them in the front line. This base immediately forced to lift off, run away, and I don't even think it's going to make it out.
No, that is getting picked off 100%. Yes.
All right.
And here we go. He's going to continue to walk forward here. The Vikings coming up, starting to deal a ton of damage here to the Colossi. Prism warping in some units from behind right now, and those Zealots all over the Marine Marauder.
All right, well, the Vikings will finally be able to take out all of the Colossus. No one does survive, and there's not enough fire on the ground to fight through that choke point.
Oh my god, just great job here by Classic, and GG is called. Classic will take game number 1, and in a truly convincing fashion. This was a very well-played game.
Man, I have the same reaction to that game as I do with, like, fresh Pop-Tarts in the toaster in the morning.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh.
Makes me feel good about Classic back to form, playing very well on top of everything the Live threw at him.
Well, I would be more like, oh my god, that's hotter than the center of the sun. But
so is Classic, man. Have you seen him?
Seriously, that game was so well done. He opens up with a Disruptor drop, gets good damage out of it, falls back, defends against a very strong tank push from aLive, right? And then kind of just goes into this ground-pounding army, this really strong army that, yes, it has 3 Colossus in it, but you're going to have a hard time beating this army when you have that many Vikings. The thing is, you do need the Vikings as well. Classic just really prepared. He had good upgrades, and aLive was slightly out of position when he came as well.
Well, that was the new map, Ascension at IR. We're going to move into a very familiar map, Newkirk Precinct. Beginning to game number 2 of aLive versus Classic.
In a cloud of fire we stand. Fight, wins the war. Are you ready to fight? Yeah!
All right, loving the epic music, getting into some epic games. Our Blue Terran player, he is
My Insanity, aLive.
wearing his cool My Insanity jersey. That guy is cross-eyed, by the way. My Insanity dummy there.
I thought you were talking about aLive. I'm like, that's really rude and not even true.
No. No, that's... I'm the meanest person. All right.
And
Classic.
Here he is. Okay, so... You're like, oh, he's cross-eyed too. I'm like, you're just calling everyone cross-eyed today, man. This is really messed up.
Well, earlier on, it was Abyssal Reef, and Kalaris called the space shark ugly because they zoomed in on his face, and he was a little cross-eyed too, and I was like, what a bully. And here I did the same thing. So.
Well, I mean, the shark's eyes are probably on opposite sides of his head, right?
They
so
are.
I don't know how it could be cross-eyed.
Takes talent, man.
To be cross-eyed, he'd have to be looking inside of his own skull.
Years of practice.
So, Kalaris, come at me, bro. I think you're wrong about the space shark.
Okay, well, big fan of Hot 6. In the Hot 6 zone, if you guys come down, you can be as cool as those guys are.
A lot of fun here at the studio. I have actually a really solid crowd for being so early. This is like nerd morning still, you know. It's like 1 p.m. and got quite a few people coming down to the studio for this crazy group of death.
I guarantee you, very few of the people watching this in America wake up in the early morning. They get their cup of coffee and they're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go down to the GSL studio. No, that's not what happens. But this is being broadcast at a very North American friendly time. So for all of our viewers who are not here in the GSL studio watching, thanks for tuning in. Big fan.
And please let people know, spread the word, because GSL is actually the best show, and StarCraft's the best game. This game takes more skill than any other game, and that is a fact. That is a fact. Write it down, underline it. And to watch these ridiculous players go at it, I mean, we're going to see all sorts of new strats today. There's a new patch out right now. You couldn't have a more exciting moment.
Yeah, you really get to see a lot of players figure things out along with you. If you guys are laddering, you're like, okay, what are these new maps? What does this new patch do? I mean, this is the best opportunity you really have to watch the best players in the world experiment with that.
So.
If innovation goes into his game, the first unit he builds is a Thor. You're like, okay, well, that patch was pretty good for those units. Could definitely happen.
I would love to see some stuff like that, to be honest. Like, I want to see the kind of mix-up. We did see a charge gotten right away there from Classic. In fact, he was thinking about getting another upgrade and actually canceled it and went into charge. Like, he started Glaives, and then he's like, nah, and he went into charge. And, hey, that worked out really well.
It's like when you're in the upgrade supermarket and you see that giant red sign that says Super Mega Uber Sale right below charge, and it's half off.
Yeah.
That's why you buy that instead.
Well, you know, it's kind of an interesting thing, and nothing too weird happening here, by the way, guys. The double Cyclone is quite interesting. If you were to take a Nexus right now before these additional 2 gateways, then aLive can kill it for free with the 2 Cyclones. Like, you just, like, auto-kill a super fast third. But Classic is playing very safe, getting double Oracle and double Gate, so nothing you can do early will break Classic here. But back to what you were saying, like, just the fact that charge is cheaper now, the amount of new strategies we're going to see come out because of that is, like, really cool.
Yeah, not even just charge. Okay, we're going to watch this Oracle control. Wow, large lock-on distance. Takes like 25 rockets, and he's still down to, like, below half health. Okay, good job, Cyclone. Imagine how much therapy Cyclones have to do because of how weak their auto attacks are versus air.
Yeah, well, what they had before, though, was pretty stupid. If you saw a Cyclone with your Oracle, you're like, oh, I guess I lost my Oracle. But second one is getting out right now. A third command center on the way for aLive. So he's playing a pretty macro-intensive game, getting his third base going before Classic does. Not something you see every day. But notice how Classic just warped in 3 Stalkers. That's just kind of pointing towards the fact. That's like a big nod towards the double Cyclone play, where it's like, oh, okay, if he has double Cyclone, I have to be careful, or my expansion that I'm going to take could die.
All right, well, watching those Oracles, very, very good control. Not really caring too much about the Cyclones, continuing to get in and out with a lot of worker kills. What is the play here for aLive? Looks pretty standard, but yeah, the Stalker warp in. We saw really good reads by Classic, always having enough Stalkers in his base to deny every single drop attempt. Not seeing that this time. It's all about the Oracles.
And they're doing a great job. Every time they come in, they're killing about 3 SCVs. They're getting good scouting going. He has complete information right now over what aLive is doing and what aLive's plans are. So that's fantastic. He's got his third Nexus on the way, getting all his tech up. So this is looking good right now.
Oops. The mortal enemy of the Oracle. Still a pretty good trade. 400 minerals for one Oracle.
So, the Blink on the way, not too surprised to see that. Goes with the double Oracle very well. An older strategy that Deer kind of came up with.
It's an older strategy, Artosis, but it checks out.
Yes, still definitely a very good one. And we'll have to see how aLive wants to play this. You know, he's just kind of macroing up a little bit. Looks like he wants to try some harassment right now. I don't think he's expecting for this to do a whole lot.
I haven't seen a double Cyclone drop in a while.
Yeah.
This is going to come in at a kind of interesting time. Most of Classic's forces are up by his third base, because you would expect that to be where maybe aLive wants to pressure. But he hasn't really gone out onto the map at all just yet, and he's holding back with this double drop.
You know, this is one of the cool, like, flavorful things that you can see between different Terrans. For instance, we see aLive with the double Cyclone there, right? He used these early on for defense. There was no timing attack that he could hit with them. And they do lose some value a little bit later in the game. Cyclones aren't as strong. So it looks like he wants to go and harass with them. Whereas if you take someone, for instance, TY, if we see TY in a similar situation later, it's more likely, we've seen him do it before, that he'll do something like leave the Cyclones in a base that he knows Warp Prisms are going to be hitting a lot, because they're going to mess with the Warp Prism, they're going to do well against Adept Warp-ins and stuff like that. So just kind of a really cool thing to see the difference between these top Terran players.
Great tag there by Classic's Oracle. He'll see everything that aLive is trying to get up to. With a scan there, aLive knows that he is unscouted, at least for now, dropping down his third base, trying to get that up right as Classic is pushing out.
Okay, Classic has Blink all set, going for that +1 armor, a Prism, and Glaives right now, skipping through that charge, so definitely not going to be a one-trick pony here tonight.
Indeed not, although he does have his pony trot legs on those stalkers running across the map. Here comes the double Cyclone drop, looking to get a couple of probes. 1, 2, 3. It looks like that's all there is with a Blink forward. This might actually not be enough to deal with that. Okay, all right, finally.
He even saves him. I mean, this is pretty good, right? He's forcing a lot of units over there. He gets a little bit of damage, kills a Stalker. Not too bad for those Cyclones, still finding some value, and looks like aLive going to continue to turtle up a little bit, realizing that Classic is kind of poised on the map in a position where if aLive isn't careful, Classic could do some serious damage.
This actually reminds me a lot of Brood War, where the Protoss pushes out and has to kill all of the Widow Mines out there. Yeah,
you're actually right about that.
So he has to tag them, get rid of them. He's doing a good job, too. He hasn't had any of them hit just yet. aLive really threw down that bunker at a great time. As soon as he sees that army out there, he's like, okay, well, I actually will need something to stop Classic's army. And, wow, at the same time as he's pushing out, Classic back in his base defending against that double drop.
Yeah, very good job right there, but this is a huge army. There's only a single bunker here. He's already lost a lot of Widow Mines. That's going to make it much harder. These Stalkers continuing to push down some of these mines.
Great force fields as well. He's totally bypassing that bunker. Bunker's empty. Turret not hitting anything. All that defense, it's just not in a position where it's helping aLive right now.
No, it truly is not. And let's not forget as well, like, how many mines has he lost that haven't gotten a shot off? Like, 5 or 6?
Yeah.
It's a big number. That's actually very important. He spent a lot of money on these mines. They haven't done much.
And look at every unit he has on the ground. SCVs, Marines, they're both going to die instantly to all these shades. Oh my god. I think there's more shades than there are actual units right now. They're all going to go into the main. aLive's army continuing to dwindle. Classic blinking, shading everything right into aLive's base.
This army is just massive, and GG is called. Classic bulldozing through aLive. So this is 2 groups in a row where the leader of the group chose a player they decided was weak and got wrecked by them 2-0.
Wow. Well, this is like that movie, The Labyrinth, where you make your way through the labyrinth, you face one trial, another one, but at the end of the day, there's that Goblin King sitting up in his castle, aLive and TY and Innovations watching this like, yes, those are the builds the tiny people do. So, there's more to come, and even though Classic looks super good in his games here versus aLive, there are Terran players galore in Group B, and we'll be watching 2 of the best ones coming up next.
Well, I love that Classic has shown us 2 completely different styles of play. In Game 1, the Disruptor drop into Colossus Tech, into a really big charge army. Game 2, of course, Oracle's into Blink, so he's bringing a lot of strategies here tonight. But next, we're going to have TY versus Innovation, the match of the night or day.